Sebastian, take it away.
All right, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm Sebastian. I work at Gnosis and also work at HOPR, where we're building privacy infrastructure. And yeah, if you want to find me, let's start with some actually defensive tech. You find me at scbürgel.eth. If you live on a device that cannot resolve that, .eth.limo will get you going. Let's see how this works. Let's get started by getting some of the bad stuff out of the way. I was really moved when I read this. There's a guy who is living among us who got not just abducted, but also tortured to get crypto out of him and his family. And it's just as bad as it gets. Sometimes we're talking about North Korea, you know, stealing money. I mean, yeah, that sucks, you know, but people getting physically harmed, I find absolutely horrific. And yeah, to me, that is a sign that we need to do something. Now, what supposedly some people say happened here is that there was some information about this guy in the physical world that was disclosed in the digital world. And yeah, that basically just goes to say that what Vitalik showed here in his original deck blog post, this stuff in the top right corner of cybersecurity and the bottom left corner of the world of atoms and macro are actually sometimes closer than we think. And the key here is we should attempt to unlink. So I think we should try to think a little bit less about just privacy or just anonymity and start thinking more about linkability. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is an invention that was kind of made in Berlin. No, it's not bubble tea. It is the second law of thermodynamics. Stuff likes to diffuse. Just like, you know, this milk and this tea is going to mix in about a second from this picture being taken, the flow of information is that if you don't do anything, information leaks. Information wants to move. And we have to do something actively to prevent that from happening. We have to actively prevent information that you retain from leaking elsewhere. If we don't do that, information will leak, and that's bad, right? Now, this linkage is something that I'll talk about some more and give some examples. We heard about on-chain privacy, and I find on-chain privacy amazing. It's absolutely needed, but I'll make the point that it needs some more than that. So, for example, linkage is typically established by something that creates a link. And in many cases, we've just seen a great example from Railgun, right, of people being kind of clueless and just claiming POAPs. That's a good point. But there's more, right? Not all your digital activities are on-chain. There will never be. So for the ones who haven't seen this, Am I Unique is a fantastic tool to show how unique your browser is. And as you can see, this was me here yesterday. I'm a bit an odd one who operates on Linux, right? So not few people do that. I'm on Firefox. You have some particular like time zone settings and user agents. All of that can be used to establish a fingerprint about you, right? And that is something that can be used to track your activities across apps and across usage sessions. And that to me is bad. I don't care just that my information is being retained. I don't care that my activities are not linked to my face. I also care about the fact that one usage session of, for example, Ethereum is not linkable to another usage session of Ethereum. And that is actually hard. It is specifically harder than just establishing privacy or anonymity, and I think we should strive for that. So for obviously, there's not just this browser fingerprinting, there's also much more obvious things such as your IP address. And for the ones who do get this joke, it's actually a bit misleading, right? Because this is home, this is localhost, and unfortunately, we don't just interface local services as we interface Ethereum today. And also, referring to the previous talk a lot, because a lot of good points have been made, we talk about RPC providers, right? And RPC providers are indeed an issue, but modern Ethereum does not just rely on an Ethereum provider. Go check out your browser tab if you open a modern wallet. What does your wallet do? A whole lot more than that, right? It queries price feeds, it queries like indexers, horrible thing. It queries like all sorts of stuff that is not running locally and that can be used to identify you and track your usage sessions of Ethereum across individual kind of usages. And many times your IP address is your primary identifier. Your primary identifier is not your Ethereum address. Now, to that end, to solve some of that, we built the HOPR network, which is a mixnet over which you can route traffic. So in addition to the on-chain privacy, we want to establish the strongest possible means of defense technology on the data transport layer. On top of that, we're currently building Gnosis VPN. I won't get too much into that. I have a talk on that next Wednesday, and if you want to see a demo, I invite you for Protocol Berg, where Tino will actually give a workshop. So you can really use this network transparently by installing a local VPN client, which allows you to establish a connection to this HOPR network, an entry network that you currently need to provide, and then all the way to an exit, right? So in between, you have perfect anonymity, which is stronger privacy assumptions than Tor. So you cannot link outgoing traffic coming out of your computer to, all the way to the web service. That is the objective of what we're building here. And just to visualize that a little bit, here is a website that I invite you to check out. This is my token tracker. For the ones who find this design weird, this is how the internet used to look like. So what we see here is pretty normal looking, right? You see basically a token tracker which shows you the balances and the tokens you have. Nothing new. Uniswap does this. Everybody does this. So what is new here? Well, we render something which is obvious, also nothing new, right? These images which you see on the left obviously got loaded from somewhere. And now I think you start seeing where I'm going, because these images, again, allow somebody to fingerprint you. How bad is that really? So I took actually this address. This was the largest safe I could find at the time. And we queried it, right? So we use a closed source data analytics platform that will therefore remain nameless. And I have checked out how many tokens do I need to fingerprint you. And this is basically kind of a breakdown of that. So for one token, there are 74,000 Ethereum addresses that host at least one token like that. Once you get to like 9 tokens, we're down to 3, right? There's 3 addresses which hold that set of token addresses. So basically, I got you. And a final thought that I'm going to leave you on is, what if this was a privacy pool? What if this was a shielded pool, right? Sure, you have perfect on-chain privacy, but if we don't watch out, if we don't build defensive technologies across the stack, then this still breaks, your anonymity and establishes a link. So please think about, if you build complex technologies and systems, please think about the full stack that you want to defend yourself against. And finally, DAC is supporting people who have been standing up for privacy for a long time, and we're currently not here because a legal system is working against us and them. Please support them. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for working on DAC.